Sunday it is right here in the city of Lagos, ladies and gentlemen. I'm quite, when I say quite excited to be with you in the studio. This is Voice of the People, 90.3 FM. Well, it was quite a cool Sunday. It started off very hot, very sunny, but later in the day we thought that possibly it was going to rain. I don't know if it rained in your access, but along the studio, along this arena, it did not rain. However, the weather was just cool, but we still actually need a constant electricity supply, or at least 15 hours electricity supply. For some areas they only get light for possibly an hour. Some locations in Lagos, no electricity at all, and apparently it's a consistent disgruntlement across almost all the states in the federation. We haven't heard, as so far we only heard about GAMCO. We haven't heard precisely what the federal government intends to do about it. The only thing we heard of recent is that the president has decided to start off fresh efforts to reduce pressure Nigerians are going through with the recent increase in fuel prices. If you go to NNPC today, petrol per liter is about 1,250 naira. All right. Then if you go to other filling stations, you get it at 1,400 or 1,450. So there are very strong indications that by tomorrow it will be 1,500, 1,550, or possibly 1,600, while NNPC may be selling for 1,004. So it's really bad, and this is affecting goods and services. Exactly. In fact, we've even heard that some shipping companies will have to close down. The reason why is because the cost for this shipping has become so expensive that their consumers or their customers will not pay. So some of the shipping companies are shutting down. This is going to really affect a lot of sectors. Right now, for power, they're saying that power distribution in terms of gas has really reduced. So electricity distribution companies are saying that they will only prioritize. I don't know whom they're prioritizing. They're only going to prioritize the band A. The band A, how many hours are they giving them electricity supply? Adelabo has told us that the president is doing something about it, but we know the crushing heat wave. The weather is so hot, terribly hot. There are some communities and some locations where there is no breathing space. Some houses, they don't allow for alternative power supply. I'm talking about generator. And to buy solar, which is an alternative power supply, is expensive. You must have a kind of certain source of income to afford solar. So for real, it's really not easy for a lot of Nigerians at all. So if you're having what is going on in the Middle East affecting prices across the globe, Nigeria that is solely dependent on import goods will definitely feel the brunt of this. So the president has said that during the Eid of celebration in Dutse, Jigawa State capital, Governor Umar Namadi spoke to residents after hosting the Emir of Dutse. And according to his statement, which was signed by the Chief Press Secretary Hamisu Mohammed Gumel, the governor said the president is deeply concerned about the situation and that steps are already being rolled out to ease the burden, especially in the area of transportation. Namadi explained that the spike in petrol prices has been worsened by the ongoing tensions in the Middle East, which have affected global oil supply and pricing. This, he said, has led to increased transport fares and higher cost of goods and services. For Nigeria, we're hearing that demand is coming from South Africa and Ghana to Dangote for him to supply them refined crude, that is crude already refined. So far Dangote will really be making exponential sales, but the problem now would be him able to satisfy customers. There is pressure from the Nigerian market. We're solely dependent on Dangote refinery. He is really barely meeting up with the demands right here, considering the fact that there is no alternative power supply and petrol is needed for almost everything. All right, so you now having to satisfy external customers like Ghana, South Africa, that is serious pressure. To be honest with you, that's serious pressure. So far, we're looking at a situation where Iran has said that because of the global shortage of oil prices and the Strait of Hormuz, well, Iran has decided that the Strait of Hormuz will be accessible to non-enemy countries that they consider to be non-enemies, maybe partial allies or those who are neutral. So there is a possibility that by the grace of God, by next week or in 2 weeks' time, maybe there'll be ease in that particular axis, as the Strait of Hormuz, where most of the petrol passes, And the United States of America has said they would come down hard on Iran to stop blockading the Strait of Hormuz. They're saying they're going to escort with their own will I say, massive ships and drones or naval. But however, Iran is saying any one of us or any one of you who is not our ally, or any one of you who partook in this particular war, you would not have access to the Strait of Hormuz. I really don't know what the United States of America intends to do about this, if they want to use force or if they want to go to the table to negotiate. But Nigerians expect hard times. Today on the Political Spotlight, I'm informing you to join us. We're streaming live on YouTube at VOP 903 FM. Yes, that's basically where we're streaming live, so you can virtually be part of the conversation this evening. My name is Esther Nwachukwu. I solely remain your babe. And on the Political Spotlight, we're delving into issues across Nigeria's political landscape. And let me not lie to you, a lot is actually taking place. So first of all, let's start off with the fact that today in Kwara State, Ekwa Church, terrorists abducted 9 worshippers in broad daylight while service was going on. 9 of the worshippers have been abducted. I would expect that our security operatives would have been able to say something about it. In Kwara South Senatorial District, Zubairi Olaitan issued an alert warning of imminent attack on some communities in Ifelodun, Irekpodun, and Isin local government areas. Are they the Yoruba speaking areas? Because the last time when there was an attack in Kwara, we heard that it was not the Yoruba speaking areas, it was more of the Hausa speaking areas. So these communities, is it the Yoruba speaking areas in Kwara State? I just want to ask, because the APC supporters at the time were saying it's not the Yoruba speaking communities in Kwara that were affected, so maybe they felt it wasn't necessary for them to call for urgent attention on that. Well, reacting to the development, the Kwara State government has tasked the security forces and local vigilantes to ensure that the terrorists who attacked the Ekwa Church, Omugo, are apprehended. So far, we intend to hear what is next. We saw these terrorists across the Sahel celebrating Eid. They put up their videos and pictures where they all gathered together. We saw some foreigners in their midst. Obviously, there are international sponsors of the terrorism currently taking place in Nigeria. Nigeria seems to be the hot and attractive spot for these terrorists lately, and it's quite unfortunate. But let's look at a situation where Nigerians have been calling out the opposition. They are wondering how they have decided to remain quiet in the midst of what is currently taking place. I mean, the president visited the United Kingdom. It was a special visit. And the deal that was signed, there have been different reactions to it. Some say it did not benefit Nigeria at all. Some say that this administration is heavily reliant on international perspectives. And the UK's outing is one of the major ones he has gotten since he assumed office in 2023. There were talks that all the persons that were chanting on your mandate we shall stand were given money from the Sun. You know, there were videos that circulated where they were giving these guys money. The first day was £300. By the second day, they were giving them £200. Most of them were giving these monies, and the videos are actually circulating. We're also seeing the City Boy movement in the UK. When I mean City Boy, I'm talking across all walks, across all regions. The Southeast, the South, the North, all of them are gathered together. We're seeing gold-plated iPhones, all right, with Jagaban's face on it. We're seeing it like, you know, this particular drink. I don't want to name it here because it's like we're doing advert for them. But they did it in that format, all right? The drink, it's a whiskey, starts with J. I don't want to call it out, but so they did it in that kind of box format, very grand, very classic, you know, very chic and very expensive, gold plated. The City Boys, we heard, went door to door in some cities in the UK, you know, giving money, campaigning for the president, saying that Nigerians in diaspora, we need you to drum up support for President Bola Ahmed Tinubu. In Lagos and the Southeast, we saw the City Boy movement packages. It's a grand slam, and everyone is saying that INEC's timetable, based on the INEC timetable, campaign is not supposed to have started by now, you know. So the question is for the fact that if you have 32 states governed by the All Progressives Congress, and there are already stringent measures on opposition not to gather, not to come together for whatever meeting, and how they come together strategize for 2027, that how then will they go about their campaign? Then there are, you know, serious talks on the opposition political party, and the major one right now is the ADC. Let's take a critical look of all the presidential aspirants in the ADC. I'll start off with Peter Obi, which is obviously like the yardstick for a couple of these politicians. Whenever they want to talk, they make their comparison with Peter Obi, both the opposition and the current government. When I mean opposition, Showereo, Tinubu supporters, so everyone, they're always referring to Peter Obi as if he's the only one that is in the ADC. But let's look at this. Critics of Peter Obi often point to several key weaknesses in his political strategy and structure, particularly following the 2023 elections. And what are the major criticism of his personality? They complain that he has a weak national political structure. They argue that he lacks a deeply rooted nationwide political machinery across all the 36 states of the Federation. And his support is seen concentrated in urban areas. His support is seen as there is really no grassroots penetration in the rural areas, which is necessary for a national election. Critics also talk about a fragile political platform, from the PDP to the Labour Party and now to the ADC, which has not given him any certainty whatsoever. He himself has come out to say he's not certain that he'll be getting that presidential ticket in the ADC. And based on the number of persons who have been registering now, we're hearing the voltage of registrants are coming from the north, Adamawa and Bauchi, Borno. Those are the axes where they are getting more registration. That the south has recorded very low turnout in registration. So if Peter Obi, who is a southern candidate, intends to clinch that ticket, the southern base is really not giving him the oomph that he requires. They also talk of overdependence on online support, that his campaign is heavily supported by young digital native demographic called the Obedience. Critics argue that online enthusiasm and social media noise do not consistently translate to physical votes at the polling booth on election day. Lack of political godfathers and elite alliances, widely viewed by followers that he doesn't have any one of them, really backing him up. In 2023, he had Obasanjo, but now beyond Obasanjo, who else is a political elite, that is reckoned with, that is backing him up? Critics felt that Atiku would have played that role, but now Atiku is a contestant. All right, he's also a presidential aspirant for 2027. Regional and religious perception. That despite a national campaign, they say he has struggled to shake off the perception among some voters that he is primarily a southern, a southeast candidate, more of a southeast candidate than a national candidate, which limits his appeal in key northern regions. They also talk about inexperience in national security. Critics contend that he lacks exposure to large-scale national security decision-making and crisis management. We're speaking on the general purview of how some critics argue. Well, political nomadism. Observers have criticized his moves between political parties, ABGA to PDP to Labour Party, with rumored talks of further moves, suggesting it implies a lack of solid ideological conviction and a focus on personal ambition over party loyalists. So again, we know that he has been able to gather significant following in his political career, especially since after the 2023 elections, and the fact that he's not been able to have a hang or control of his structure, of his obedient structure. You hear some persons tell you that they are the financial organizers, then later you wonder who appointed them as financial directors. So you have different subheads who may maybe appointed themselves, but not Peter Obi himself. There also talks that he doesn't really speak with them, so they know where they intend to head to. The supporters of Peter Obi basically do what they do in supporting him of their own volition. It's not like anyone is paid for anything. There are talks that he's not utilizing social media like the APC does for propaganda and messages. Those who do it are not paid. They just do it for the love of, who he is. So these are what a couple of critics, believe is that surrounds the personality of Peter Obi. Let's look at another interesting personality in the ADC, and that's Atiku Abubakar. Based on his political analysis and overview of his personality and his political journey, they believe that Atiku is desperate, and despite his desperation, he has witnessed repeated failures in his presidential ambition. They also talk about political nomadism as well. He's always party hopping. For example, he has this movement between political parties, PDP, ACN, back to APC, back to PDP, and now he's in ADC. see exactly, and the fact that it has fueled criticism that he is an unprincipled politician focused on platform hopping to secure the ticket rather than ideological loyalty. They also talk about elite background and lack of grassroots connection. Critics argue that Atiku, as part of an old guard of the system, especially amongst Nigerian politicians, lacks genuine mass appeal compared to more populist movements. His political strength is historically located within the party elite and delegate system, that is primaries, rather than direct organic support from the general populace. There also talks that Atiku barely speaks. He only comes out when elections are close, again to divide votes. Others believe that he's working for Bola Ahmed Tinubu strategically to divide votes, or possibly most times he's working for the current party in power with the division of votes. He doesn't engage. Most of the time they argue that it is his political aides who speak for him. They also talk of the fact that they can't connect with him. They don't really know him. Speak where he speaks to people, address people, that people connect with him, hear him convincingly direct and make utterances that people can say, okay, we see you, we understand where you're coming from, we align with you. But that most times he has spokespersons who reel out these messages, and that impact is dull, is very frail in that regard. There also talks about ethical and corruption allegations, that throughout his political career, Atiku has been shadowed by accusations of corruption, notably during his tenure as vice president, including long-standing allegations regarding his business dealings, such as those involving former U.S. Congressman William Jefferson, and accusations of money laundering. These allegations have created a trust deficit among some voters. They also talked about weak party structuring and internal division, like what happened in the PDP prior to the 2023 elections, how they said he was the one who fractured the PDP and made it to become what it is today, and now he has left it decrepit, did not try to resolve and strengthen the PDP back. Well, obviously, which gave the leeway for Wike to do what he did. And then regional and zoning politics. Being a northerner, Atiku faces criticism from southern political stakeholders who argue that for the sake of equity, the presidency should remain in the south, particularly after Buhari and Tinubu's tenure. There's also the age factor, that he's getting old and dependence on dollarizing primaries all the time. Anytime there is any form of primary, that Atiku has a way of dollarizing it. Why are we looking at this? We need to look at the critical perspective, how people perceive these political aspirants, especially the core ones who have told us that they are coming out as presidential candidates for 2027. Talking of Peter Obi, Rotimi Amechi, Atiku Abubakar, and obviously the current president, Bola Ahmed Tinubu. Now let's look at some of the overview or political perspective of Rotimi Amechi. There are talks about his personality, that Rotimi Amechi often centers on shifting political alliances. His political base is Rivers, but then the criticisms emerged notably during 2025, last year, when he decided to express his interest to aspire as president of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. They talked about the fact that he's desperate and he's an opportunist. They also see him as he has a weakened political base and influence. They also talk about inconsistency and hypocrisy. He brought this current administration to power. He served under Buhari's government for 8 years as the Minister of Transportation, and they also wonder why up till now he believes that the government he brought into power is no longer effective to give Nigerians their desired quest for proper and accountable and transparent leadership. They also talked about failed deliveries and mismanagement, that he has a naysayer image. Critics in the current administration argue that Amechi only discovered his talent of criticizing governance after leaving office, accusing him of aiming to stoke anarchy on a national scale rather than providing constructive alternatives. Then we're going to look at Mr. Bola Ahmed Tinubu, the current president of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. They say that Tinubu has a very strong strength in terms of what you would call political strategy. He has a very good strength in that. But when it comes to governance, he lacks capacity. That talks about the fact that he lacks capacity to govern, and that he has only proved economic failure with his economic policies. Also, we heard about the fact that he has been trying very, very hard to give a perception that on paper something is being done right. But the reality on ground, despite the grand dream, is the fact that Nigerians cannot feel the impact of his policies. They talk about the fact that some criticism posits Tinubu is not the primary problem, but rather his political dominance is a result of weak and ineffective opposition. For example, Amechi noted that Tinubu's strategy is simple. He's trying something today, you are weak. He puts something bigger, you are weaker. He always puts an obstacle. If you're not able to surmount it, it becomes a huge deficit to the opposition and a major gain for him. They say he has a weak mandate and legitimacy questions. Some commentators argue that the government faces a legitimacy crisis due to the 2023 elections, forcing it to tread carefully in implementing radical reforms like the fuel subsidy removal, which up till now Nigerians feel they have not felt the impact of that fuel subsidy removal. Instead, life has gotten hard, things have become extremely expensive, and the earning income of Nigerians has become slim or possibly fragile. He also relies on proxies and distant management. Critics argue that he oversteps in certain instances where they have alleged that he's grossly, competent or incompetent in respect to the fact that he shifts responsibility to governance to other people. For example, critics, you criticize his government, you hear, why don't you call out your governors, call out your House of Rep members? Why must you always call me all the time, compared to how he was when he was in the opposition and how he was always boomeranging the government of the day? There are also allegations of impunity and undemocratic moves. He has been accused of overstepping constitutional hierarchy and authority, particularly regarding the political crisis in Rivers State, where some alleged he tried to truncate democracy through federal intervention. The talk of using the Electoral Act to hoodwink and ensure that there are major obstacles for the opposition, bringing in stringent policies that affects the opposition. They're also about the coalition concerns. Coalition have talked about the fact that there are loopholes where he infused persons to create issues in the political parties and weaken them structurally. Again, these are the back and forth concerning President Bola Ahmed Tinubu's administration. However, let's take a listen to this. Some northerners are arguing that Tinubu would not come back in 2027. The big question is, how do they know? If we're already seeing what the City Boy movement is all about, the monies they have released, how far they have gone in terms of supposedly sponsoring support, how do they know that he will not come back in 2027 when the opposition literally feels they seem unorganized, and they've not spoken or told Nigerians precisely what they would do different from what the current administration is doing? So let's just take a listen to this. And obviously from a former Minister of Youth and Sports Development, Simon Lalong. So let's take a listen to this, gentlemen.
Participate in supporting Tinubu administration. See that so many imams and so many traditional rulers have participated in supporting Tinubu administration. But now, it's even difficult for imams to go on the mosque to preach. The people have had enough of it. It's not like the elite versus the masses. That's what it looks like now. See that so many imams and so many traditional rulers have participated in supporting Tinubu administration. But now, it's even difficult for imams to go on the mosque to preach for Tinubu. You can't even do it. The people have had enough of it. It's not like the elite versus the masses. That's what it looks like now. And then you see now people. Just last week I saw a video of one Malam saying that they proposed to give him 500 billion naira just to go and see how he can mobilize the imam and traditional rulers. Nobody, I dare anybody to go out there and campaign for Tinubu, all those Malams and those traditional rulers. They will be totally disrespected. The people will disrespect them.
That's how can you say that confidently when a good number of political elites in the north are already rallying support for the president?
Who are they? The governors?
Beyond just governors, you've seen religious leaders. You've also seen. I mean, I'm sure you've seen it. I mean, you might have chosen to ignore them in mentioning.
I can only see the governors, but you barely see imams or traditional rulers talking about people for them to support him. You hardly see it. Because they know they can't face their people with that. People have had enough of them. If they want to collect the money, they should go ahead and collect the money. But they can't convince the people to vote for Tinubu in 2027. it's not possible. And if they try it, trust me, people will disrespect them. And they know it.
Is it not fair to point out that this is an ADC version of the narrative? And there are other competing narratives out there that your assessment is not necessarily 100% on point.
I'm not talking about just the ADC, I'm talking about the common people, the Nigerian people.
You don't think that it's 2027, it can only be because...
Now what do you mean?
Now I'm saying if he wins in 2027, your explanation would be...
Don't even bother about putting the if, there's no way he would.
I mean, it's a possibility that he would.
There's no way he would.
I mean, you would even say that the possibility is higher than what it used to be a year ago. Because right now it only looks like there are two major players in the race, APC and ADC, for the time being anyway.
All right, but then that's the purview of one person. So is it true that the North is not interested in making sure that Tinubu returns to power in 2027? When we have most of the Northern governors already in the All Progressives Congress? Well, let's listen to former Minister of Youth and Sports Development speaking in a recent interview. Particularly, he seems very stringent and factual that Tinubu is not coming back. I don't know what semantics that means, but then I don't know what they have in mind. Let's take a listen to this.
It's not the issue of removing, but Tinubu is not in the election. He's not in the election in 2027. Tinubu will receive the shocker of his life. Let me be very honest with you. President Tinubu is working very hard to lose the election. There's no any investment in the election for Tinubu. The depth of my heart is not the issue of removing, but Tinubu is not in the election. He's not in the election in 2027. Tinubu will receive the shocker of his life. Let me be very honest with you. President Tinubu is working very hard to lose the election. There's no any investment in the election for Tinubu. Because you invest in the election by demonstrating leadership for the people. As Nigerians are suffering, the government is reckless. The president has a don't care attitude. He thinks only of himself, his immediate family, and his comfort. In this scenario, he's going to be OTP, one-time president.
Hello.
Good evening, sir. Thank you for joining us today. How are you?
I'm okay, sir. And you?
I am fine. Welcome to the Political Spotlight.
My pleasure.
Can you hear me, sir?
Yes, so my pleasure.
Yes, thank you so much. Barry, sir, very quickly, let's look at this. There were talks about the fears that opposition may not match with what is currently taking place. The APC has supposedly begun campaign. They have almost everything on their side. They have the institutions, they have the money, they have access to state resources, while the opposition is still trying to grapple to find a foothold. We now decided to take an assessment of the critical angles or critical perspective towards the contestants that have indicated interest, or the aspirants who have indicated interest. And I'm talking about Atiku Abubakar, Peter Obi, Rotimi Amechi. These members are in the ADC, and obviously President Bola Ahmed Tinubu. There are several arguments on this critics, and they're wondering, what does the ADC or the opposition have that they think can counter what Bola Ahmed Tinubu has? There's also Omoyele Sowore, who has strongly lately come on the media to actually chastise opposition, that is his fellow opposition members, and the current government in power, saying that all of them do not deserve to actually come back in 2027, but he deserves to come back because he has been consistent. He says he's clean. He says he has a proper political ideology to revamp Nigeria. He has always insisted that Nigeria is all about revolution. He has referred to Peter Obi as a package fraud, somebody who doesn't know what he wants, and that he has no sense of consistency. He has called Tinubu a criminal. He has called Atiku several derogatory names. And Amechi himself, in fact, you need to go to his website and see collections of things he had written about this individual. So let me ask you, if these are the critical analysis or critical perspective of the opposition based on those who have indicated their interest to us to contest in 2027, then who is the alternative that Nigerians can connect with to lead the country in the right direction?
Esther, the opposition should stop taking the blame. Nigeria should stop blaming the opposition.
Why, sir?
Because the ruling party have made it impossible for them to what? To live, to thrive, to organize themselves. I mean, look at what Wike is doing in PDP. Is that party politics? Tell me. Just look at what Abure is doing in Labour Party. Is that party politics? Disobeying Supreme Court order, Supreme Court. And so when you want to blame the APC and all those things you said about Obi, Atiku, Amechi, you mean this political war horse? They don't know what to do all of a sudden. They know what they are doing, just that the APC is making it impossible for them to organize themselves. That is just the simple truth. Anybody who is shying away from that fact is not fair to them. Seriously. Look at all the efforts they have made so far. And look at how it hit a brick wall. Nigerians are aware of all this. So we should just wait and see what is going to happen. Because there are court cases against them. All the opposition have court cases in them. Mention one case now that the APC have in court against Tinubu or the party hierarchy. Mention one case. Esther, none. Esther, none. So why are we always blaming the opposition when we can see what they are going through? I mean, it's so sad, seriously.
But when it comes to politics, nobody cares to listen. Like the president has said, it's all about winning. So are you telling me that if there are all of the obstacles, they didn't foresee all of these obstacles? They didn't foresee that there will be mechanisms to derail opposition, especially these indicators were obvious post-election. In fact, this administration started off campaigning and putting stringent measures immediately the president was inaugurated. So if this coalition had said they had been meeting for 18 months, observing things as they were going on in the polity, didn't they actually see beyond what is currently taking place to say, okay, these stopgap measures, we are going to have another leeway to access the people? I'm talking about the fact that if, for example, you cannot gather in any of the states right now, you can't gather to hold any political gathering because they will tell you it's not yet time for you to campaign, right, based on INEC's timetable. And the current political party is already campaigning. So what about other avenues like the media? We don't hear them speak. We don't hear them engage. We don't hear them talk. We cannot access them. We don't understand their political ideologies. Yes, they hold press conferences once in a while to speak, but how many people actually sees or hears them? There are major television stations, radio stations that they can visit most of the time. Only few of the supporters or the activists who speak and resonate their call. Could it be because the opposition has not zoned its ticket? Is that why they're still keeping quiet? Is that why they're not saying anything?
Esther, what you are saying costs money. What you are saying now about media, it costs money. It can never be free. So, the opposition are conserving their money for the real campaign and for the real election. They don't have money to throw around like APC. You had that setup have taken Akpabio to court to explain where 210 trillion naira went, disappeared to. 210 trillion. Imagine. If you have that kind of money, who is that person that can challenge you? No, tell me, who is that person? You heard of 500 billion being given to some people and all that. Can any opposition member come out today and do the same thing? No, tell me, where will you start? If you spend that kind of money trying to bribe people, so how much will you not spend in campaign? You can see their problem. You can see where the problem is coming from, Esther. How can you see all these things and you are still asking questions? Seriously, they are making things impossible for the opposition. And that is because they are G3.
Who is G3?
The ruling party, they are G3. So they want to plug all the avenues, all the loopholes to make sure that.
So you're saying the reason why the opposition is quiet is because they don't want to be hounded. Is that what you're saying?
Not just that. The money to throw around and do some of these things that the APC did is not there.
So why would you go into politics, especially against Bola Ahmed Tinubu, if you do not have the money?
Esther, don't ask me that question again. No.
Why won't I ask you? We're having a conversation. Do you already know that politics is financially inclusive? Financially investing.
Hey, hold on, Esther, please. Politics is not about money. It is not about money. It's about what you are going to do. It is only in Nigeria that you monetize politics. Seriously. In the UK, do they spend this kind of money trying to bribe people, Esther? Tinubu just came back from there yesterday. Did they spend this kind of money during camp just to bribe people? So what are you actually saying? Nigerians, in fact, it is because of the environment we have found ourselves. People are too gullible here. Esther, 90% of Nigerians don't have principle. Now where belly face, now they go. Ajib, any government in power. Can't you see how all of them are jumping into APC, where they claim that the ship is afloat? Meanwhile, the ship is sinking. They said the road to hell is very wide and everybody is rushing through it. Is that not true? So why should anybody see all these things and you are still blaming the opposition? What else do you want them to do? Hold on. What is that thing they're supposed to do that they have not done? They have tried in their own little way, but you can't blame them. Nigeria that are supposed to be at their back, they are facing APC now because of money. Is there any other thing? Tell me one single thing that will make anybody run to APC if not for the money. If not for the money, Esther, we did 210 trillion. If APC spent 10 trillion, I mean, every Nigerian can be bribed, though. Every Nigerian can be bribed. Every Nigerian. So, does any APC member have that kind of money to throw around? That's the question that Nigerians need to ask. I mean, answer. Tell me that person in APC that can throw around all that kind of money just to bribe people. Look at what city boys are doing. Is it their money? No, is it their money? Mention any money bag in APC today that can fund APC. Mention one money bag that's a businessman that is behind APC to be funding them and releasing money. Yeah, they don't need it now. Our treasury is open to them. Maybe it is when they leave office, we now know what happened. We now know how they were spending money and all that. No, tell me where the money. Did you hear when they launched any campaign fund? No.
Barrister, you're telling me that having access to the media includes money. They don't have the money, and that what is going on with them by the current political party is not fair. But you already knew that this current political party would not play fair. You already knew that, right? You already knew that having Bola Ahmed Tinubu as a president will definitely not play fair, considering his antecedents as the governor of Lagos State and how he handled the opposition in Lagos State. So, I'm asking you the question. All of these mechanisms, right, and obstacles, were they not anticipated by the opposition? That's one. Two, in what way did they think they will be able to upstage him or possibly create a sense of discontent, major discontent, all right, against him, whereby they would have leverage? For example, Barrister Darlington, the opposition has almost every weaponry at their disposal. They have every weaponry at their arsenal. Let me give you an instance. The situation of insecurity in this country seems to be worse than what it was during Jonathan's administration. We don't hear them talk, basically put up some tweets. The economic situation currently in the country is nothing right home about. Power supply is almost at zero level. I'm telling you, from all fronts, all locations across the country is complaining of no electricity, considering the crushing heat wave. These are factors that this current administration campaigned on. Now, in terms of the policies, that is internal revenue generation that this administration claimed they have been able to make, if we do a comparison from the loans borrowed, all right, from the loans borrowed and from what has been realized, you would see that the semantics is not even weighing in on the positive side. However, the president has said that there is now an economic certainty compared to the darkness that we were plunged in with his predecessor. So in that regard, if we are saying that politically the president has the weight, but when it comes to administration and governance, he seems not to understand it as is perceived or packaged that he does, then are we saying the opposition does not have any leeway to possibly truncate all of this and have the people on their side? We're just analyzing this politically because that's what Bola Ahmed Tinubu would do if he was currently in the opposition.
Sir, you are talking as if you don't know this government and what they can do.
No, Barrister, you're not giving me. You're not. We're speaking politically now. Nobody is concerned. The president has said he will use what is at his disposal to cripple the opposition, and that is what we're seeing. The president has also said that he is actually happy to see them in disarray. All right, meaning that these political structures are not solid enough. So if you anticipated all of this, what was your counter strategy? And how come you've not been able to tell Nigerians what do you intend to do different from what Bola Ahmed Tinubu is doing? Nobody wants to hear the usual rhetorics. It's simple.
So you were talking about counter narratives and all that. You've forgotten that money, like you said, money play a big role in Nigerian politics. Is that not true?
Yes.
To mobilize people, good. To mobilize people, you need money. Have you asked yourself why the few money bags in the opposition are in detention today? Have you asked yourself? A few money bags in the opposition. Have you asked yourself why they are in opposition? And Nigerians are not even coming to their rescue or to their aid.
These are issues now. Who are the few money bags and why they're in opposition? Can you
Malami and the El-Rufai.
Okay.
Malami and El-Rufai. Then the ruling party, mention any of them there that does not have skeleton in their cupboard out of the money they stole from Nigeria. Mention one person. I've been telling you about the 210 trillion naira, Esther. You have not even addressed that issue. Is that now money that is in some people's pocket in this country? And you think that they took that money to go and chop granite or what, Abi? That money, you think it's for just granite money? So tell any opposition that you can find that kind of money with him. Tell me. So everything boils down to money. Mobilize people, do the necessary strategy, do the connection, move around, persuade people. It boils down to money, Esther. If you don't have it, what are you going to do?
So what are you suggesting, Abarsa? If you're saying that the opposition does not have money, or those that have the money to galvanize and mobilize are having court cases and issues with the EFCC, DSS, ICPC, and all the likes. So are you suggesting that because of the obstacles already put in place by the current political party, so the opposition should just do what? Fade away?
They should listen to IPAC. IPAC told them to boycott this election.
If they boycott the election, have you not given the current administration the room to have an all-free win?
Let them continue. You said that you are more hungry. Then they should give you all the food. Let me see whether your stomach will not burst after eating all the food. Let them listen to IPAC, because going into this election will be an embarrassment. In fact, you now give the APC the weapon to chastise you. To celebrate and all that. Let the whole world know what is going on in Nigeria, including those of the UK and whoever who are supporting Tinubu. This will be the best way to deal with this rubbish, seriously. Let them boycott the election. With all these goodies, let them list it, how they are making things impossible for them. Yes. Because if you don't, and you want to go into this election, in fact, you will just go there to to fill in the gap and all that. So you not make any headway because already this policy, this election has been monetized, and you don't have the money to do so. So what are you going to do, Esther? Will you stop people from collecting money?
So your advice is that the opposition should boycott this election. They should not be part of it.
Seriously, I'm telling you, with what is going on with the present situation of things, don't even try say, let me depend on people. People will do this, people will do that. I'm not even sure they will allow them to be on the ballot with these court cases, Esther. These cases that are in court now, you don't know how it will go. It may come out at the last minute, when it will be possible for them to even start organizing themselves and doing things. And so, what will you advise them to do? Because they will tell it is court order. They are acting on court order. It is the court that ruled on this matter. It is constitutional. They will give you all manner of reasons, and so when you go against it, they will charge you for treasonable felony. And when you hear it, people, their supporters will go ahead, trying to say, do you want to set the country on fire? The court ruled, and you want to go against the court order. What kind of thing is that? We should observe a rule of law here, due process, and we should obey court order. But they will not tell you whether APC obeys court order too. They will not tell you that too. As long as it's against the opposition, it will be a very good topic for discussion. But when it is in favor of APC, everybody will keep quiet. Can't you see it? No, tell me, what are you going to say now that have not been said? Did they listen to you? It's very difficult when you are dealing with somebody without shame. I'm not joking. Somebody without shame is very difficult when you are dealing with, because he won't even care. He won't even listen to what you are saying about him. You know, it doesn't bother him. He is hell bent on what he wants to do.
Well, sir, you do know that morality does not play a role here. When it comes to having to get the advantage or win, there is no morality. You can see the moral decadence in how the political movement has been since post-election.
The politics that I know, the politics that I had a bit of knowledge in school, it has morality. It is only law that it doesn't bother with morality. But politics has morality. Go and ask them in UK. Go and ask them in America.
Barrister, you keep making reference to the UK and America. With the kind of political cloth of persons that we see now, do they have ideology? Do they even understand or prioritize the people, or they're all about themselves? Barrister, if not today's a political spotlight, I would have shed light into the largest of funds in the National Assembly, the Senate itself, the Godswill Akpabio Senate. How Nigerians have been cemented in the graveyard, and these individuals are literally pilfering and eating the money of Nigerians, and they do not care. The funds being given to these guys, the padding of the budget, and how they use these monies for their personal agendas with no transparency or accountability. Barrister, the moral decadence in the political class is so scary, is so glaring, and it's so infuriating that nobody is saying anything, or no one can say anything. And so while this happens, you still see Nigerians hopple to supposedly lick their boots or lick their feet for the crumbs that they get. So my question to you, Barrister Darlington, is about the kind of politicians, the fabric of politicians that we have. Maybe the ones who are very popular are the ones lacking in it, but the ones who are not very popular but are in the political space may have been shrouded, all right, by these individuals who have decrepit characteristics. So my question to you is this: if you're talking about the kind of politics ideology that you know while you're in school, and with the current set of politicians that we have here that seem to have no moral standing, how then do you now want to make a comparison to have effective governance and talk about our political space in a sane and moral manner?
It is better we continue to talk about this thing because it is undemocratic. If we allow this thing to be threat in our politics, Esther, this country will implode. It will implode in no distant time. Look at what you read out. Was PDP this arrogant in office? Some of these things you read out, if PDP were to be maybe this bad, APC will never see the light of day. That is a fact. Politics is for you to develop the country. Not for your selfish interest, for God's sake. That is why the Western world has built their nation, their country. It's all about building the nation, building the people. That is why they are where they are today, Esther. So, if we don't start talking and then settle down with what we are seeing today, you say, what can we do? Everywhere is morally decayed. That means we have agreed to what is going on. And that means it is going to destroy all of us. That's just the simple truth. So, the earlier we condemn this, the better.
That is what we're doing, Barrister, but you're suggesting that the opposition should toll the advice of IPAC. And if they do that, you do know that, as it stands, the current political party can bring up some opposition members and then the election is completely won. Do you think that this administration or the APC cares about whether opposition participates or not, when there are talks that there is a package to ensure that they remain in power as long as or more than that of the People's Democratic Party?
Esther, look, I've said it here and I've said it again. If the opposition go into this election, they will be trashed. And then you have validated what they have already planned, what they have already decided. You are just giving a seal on it. But when you do this thing, as IPAC suggested, Esther, Tinubu will never be a happy man. Even if he becomes the president, he will never. It will haunt them like that at CSU.
Okay, let me, before you go, you say that if they toe the line of IPAC, that Tinubu will be disappointed, he will not be happy. But then you on this platform on several occasions have said that the idea is to cripple opposition, so the APC is the only political party in play. So if that is the case, does that not indicate that they don't want opposition or they don't want any form of competition? I mean, I'm just saying.
Is it not obvious from what is going on?
Okay, you're suggesting that the opposition, not just the ADC, should boycott the 2027 election when all the obstacle being witnessed is to ensure that there is no opposition. So, I mean, I'm trying to understand where you're driving at.
What I'm driving at is, you just said it here, they are making things impossible for the opposition. So how will they thrive? How will they thrive? How will they go into this election? Is it not obvious that something is on to us already? If they go into this election, they will be trashed because all the free and fair window have been closed. Don't expect this election to be free and fair. It can never be. The handwriting is on the wall already. And the opposition is not in a position to be doing things the APC way.
But Barrister, as it stands now, the kind of politics that operates in Nigeria is capital intensive and it's heavily financially inclusive. And we already know that has always been the terrain, at least for a while now, since 2023. Since 2023 or 2015 thereabout, that has been the talisman. 2015, 2019, money and financially inclusive. So if you intend to contest an election with the current political climate that Nigerians are currently facing, you definitely need money, you need capital, you need finance.
And that money you need is stolen money from our coffers, Esther. It's stolen money from our coffers. Your opposition, well, they didn't have access to our national treasury. So what do you want them to do? If this you are to be fair and fair, fine. They can contest this election. They can contest and still make an impact, if not to win this election. But with what is going on today, they don't have access to our national treasury. You are here when we are looking for 210 trillion. I don't know why you are not talking about that. And they happen under this APC administration. So who is with that money? You mean if they deploy that money into this election, you will stand a chance. On what ground? When you are hearing how much people are being given right, left, and center, not to talk of when the campaign start proper. So tell me.
Thank you very much.
Political space has been made impossible for the opposition. They should think of alternative way, because I wouldn't be happy if they mess up my men in that election. I wouldn't be happy, seriously.
All right, thank you, Barrister Darlington Agumore. We appreciate your perspective on insight into some of the questions posed at you on the Political Spotlight.
My pleasure once again.
All right, Mr. Lawal Ekundayo. Briefly, in summary to everything, what's your own take?
Well, my own intake is that to start with, even if the opposition are being shocked by the ruling party, they didn't prevent them from going to the press. They didn't prevent them from speaking about what is going on in the country. They didn't shock their mouth, and we don't see that criticism.
Yes.
We don't see that that their own side of what is going on as much as is expected, because when it comes to opposition is not about forming political party.
Yeah.
It's about seeing weaknesses in what the ruling party is doing. For example, recently the president went to UK to sign some deals, and then we didn't see opposition telling us their own side of the whole thing. Are you saying it's completely right? Do you say it's okay? Do we accept it? Or you have your own side that you want Nigerians to see? You should have come out and tell Nigerians your own side of it. You should have experts who should be talking. That is what opposition is about. Or else, why do we need you? We need you because you are saying that you can do better. That is the meaning of opposition. So if you are not telling Nigerians how you can do better, then how do they see you as an alternative? That is the problem. So if we keep saying, yes, we know that the ruling party is shifting the goalposts every now and then, but that doesn't prevent you from talking. Let's face it. So we have seen that not much of talking. Let me just say not much of talking as we expected. That's why I don't know. Politics is a professional something. You should do it professionally. But the opposition don't. They don't. Many of them are always thinking about money. Money is not everything. Money is not everything. The opposition has, the ruling party has so much money to spend, this and that and this. That's not a good excuse.
All
Seriously.
right. Ladies and gentlemen, let's take a reaction to the conversation we've had this evening. Very briefly, please, just a minute, all right? Today is not the evening rush, it's a political spotlight. So the number to call is 080-3692-9933. 080-3692-9933. Hello, good evening.
Yeah, my name is Leonard from Yaba.
Welcome, sir. Very quickly, go ahead.
Esther, we are just into about 210 trillion that is missing. You know, when NPC was, that's before this 2023 election, they were giving 5 million to people. It's not like Zach Odi.
Hello? His call has gone now. 080-3692-9933. Hello?
Good evening, Esther.
Good evening, sir. What's your name, please?
This is Damola calling from Ikorodu.
Damola from where, sir?
Ikorodu.
Damola, please speak up, okay, so we can hear you well. All right, quickly, go ahead.
Let me tell you something, Esther.
Yes, sir.
See this government, even they go and bring anybody in this world to contest against Tinubu will know how great it is. So we are just shouting out it. They will not accept the defeat. Even if they see free and fair election, they will not accept. Even the former President Buhari, you know what he said. It's even the election that carried him. He knows it's not free and fair election. So APC, why everybody is running to it, they know it's their savior as a barrick at all. So everybody will run go there, but let's see how it is. If you go with vote, Peter Obi, Tinubu will not agree. Let's just be frank to each other.
All right, thank you very much. Is that 3692-9933? Remember, it's not only Peter Obi that is in the opposition. You have Atiku, you have Rotimi Amechi, as well. You have Omoyele Sowore. So those are the supposed opposition who have declared their intent to actually contest the 2027 elections. Hello, good evening.
Hello?
Good evening, how are you?
Fine.
Turn down the volume of your radio very quickly, please. What's your name, sir?
My name is Often from Maryland.
All right, very quickly, sir.
About this election.
Sir, you haven't turned down the volume of your radio.
Okay, I'll do that.
All right, 08036929933, 08036929933. Please turn off the volume of your radio completely. Hello.
Good evening, ma'am.
Good evening, sir. How are you?
This is Bamidele from Mushin.
Bamidele from Mushin, welcome. How are you?
Fine, thank you.
Please turn down the volume of your radio.
Thank you.
All right, go ahead.
The only solution for this
Bamidele, please turn down the volume of your radio. When you call, turn it down, please. I just cut off somebody. We don't really have time. 08036929933. Hello. Hello.
Hello.
Good evening, sir. Welcome. What's your name?
My name is Akin calling from Martin, North August.
Akin, welcome, sir. Happy Sunday.
Well, I will show the same.
All right, sir. Please go ahead.
The only thing I say in this thing is saying this evening is that we, as Nigerians, we won't be telling ourselves the truth. Most of the things barristers said this evening, blaming the APC for how politics is being played in this country. I don't think I agree with it.
Okay.
But you remember during the days of Baba Obasanjo, that do or die affairs, the Amala committees in Ibadan. So money was not being spent then. It was in 2015 and 2019 that we started spending money on politics. So, really this is how this thing is. Right from time. If you don't have money, you can never contest with the main political party in power. How did EDP hold on to power during the reign? Have you forgotten? That's just my take. We need to be telling ourselves the truth. Thank you, God bless you.
Thank you very much for calling, all right? Let me take some of your messages. This person says, Happy Sunday, Esther and the guests in the house. If you listen carefully, you will see that Soludo, Obi Kubana, Dave Umahi, and other supporters of government from the south is saying one thing. This is not the turn of the Igbos. The question now is, when is the turn of the Igbos? The Tinubu that is giving them this narrative now will not remain in power forever. There's no constitutional turn for any tribe in Nigerian politics. The gentleman agreement of power rotation between North and South does not guarantee that an Igbo man will emerge after the North have taken turn again. There is no law stopping a Yoruba man or a South person from contesting then. Good governance cannot happen by accident. Nigerians must fight and work for it. 2027 is another chance. Thank God from Ikotun. Esther, good evening. My name is Peter from Shibiri in Ojo local government area. Let me say this. Nigeria is totally in a great dilemma. What Mr. Darrington said is partially right, but the opposition parties are supposed to have their own strategy to prove they are ready to take power. Even if the ADC boycotts, other parties will feature, which eventually gives the ruling party a leeway. I agree with this particular perception. All right, this person says, I think the opposition and the entire Nigerians should boycott this election. They say Tinubu is a Democrat, but that's not true. This crop of politicians should be wiped off. Until there is revolution in this country, we won't get it back. Chibuzo from Egbeda. Good lady Esther, anybody that called in and his radio is on, just cut off. Mr. Rufi or John Lagos. All right, thank you, Mr. Rufi. This person says, okay, you're writing the phone number. Okay, this person says, good evening, Esther. You may be right about Atiku working for President Tinubu, considering that after him it will be the turn of the North. Atiku would have a better chance come 2031. So President Tinubu is going through to retain his presidency come 2027. Persons like Lalong, the former sport minister, saying that the North would not vote him. He should know that if the core North fails to vote him, middle belts would vote him, coupled with the southern voters. President Tinubu is already on top of his second tenure. Like Barrister Darlington said, I would advise the opposition to stay away from this election because APC have mapped and caged the opposition completely. Patrick from Raji Street, Ije Ododo. All right, good evening, Esther, and your guest, Barrister Darlington. Esther, today making 1 week, one caller called on the 15th of March. 2026, that Tinubu is not going anywhere. How are we sure that Tinubu is not going anywhere with this kind of money politics? Esther, beware of City Boys. I'm coming Andy Sani from Isheri Idimu. All right, absolutely be word. All right, good evening, Esther. In 2013 to 2014, there was 100% democracy in Nigeria. That is why APC was able to strive. In 2015 to May 29, 2023, there was 50% democracy. May 29, 2023 till date, there is 0% of democracy. Do not blame opposition because you don't know what they're going through. There is no need of pretending Nigeria is one chance. President Obasanjo, Yar'Adua, and Jonathan didn't get to answer work through protest. I doubt if an activist can make a good president. It is not political for an opposition attacking an opposition without facts. There are some so-called opposition working for the present administration. Correct from Bariga. All right, correct. Well done. Yeah. Hello, good evening.
Good evening,
How are you, sir? Welcome. Very quickly.
you former citizen of Nigeria now retired.
Welcome, sir. Please go ahead.
I want to just only ask where Wiki has been. I'm not been hearing from Wiki. If anyone UK number should tell him I'm greeting him.
Are you missing me?
I'm missing him.
Okay. No wahala. All right, Obi. Thank you. This person says, hi, and Esther, I'm enjoying your program. Thanks. Thank you. Glory from Oshodi. Glory, well done. Thank you so much. Please, I would love the females to call. Come on. You guys should call in. Hello. No, I'm not. Me and you will fight now. Hello, good evening. How are you, sir?
Fine.
Hey, you don't tell. See this voice. I miss you. Oh my God, I so missed you. How is Iba? All right, sir. Please go ahead.
That is party to pattern. It looks like it is let us see people. Each political party who have two fractions, APC fraction and the opposition fraction. So if the opposition fraction of each political party pass down now, APC fraction of them we say they will go on. And I make we recognize them. They will say that these people that back out are the enemies, whether we don't know them. Arabambi, Asaba and the we take over Labour Party. NNPP, Papa we take over. And even who is the owner of the party, we will say I will not run. The SDP has two fractions. The PDP has two fractions. We can take over this year and move ahead. So if that one will not work, it will not work. That's why I think that people do not know where it belongs. What is going on? That's why people will say that people are not registered from the southerners. Because people have not said people go and register to support me. That you understand me. Everybody thinks it will be as tomorrow. He may run away from APC and enter another political.
It's not possible now with the Electoral Act. Now you can't do that. But in fact, the time has expired for anybody to do that.
With APC. Atiku now, if they did not give Atiku ticket in APC, Atiku will enter APC and support you. It's not behaving like a leader. Everything like something that quiet. It doesn't talk. It doesn't challenge anything. It doesn't organize. It doesn't have anything with anybody. Just what is your mind just to the ticket? If you don't get the ticket, if you support Tinubu so that maybe 2031 Tinubu will the ticket. God bless you.
All right, thank you so much, sir, for calling. Thank you. I sincerely do appreciate. 08036929933. Hello, good evening.
Good evening, Esther.
Good evening, sir. Welcome. What's your name?
My name is Emeka from Kwakwa.
Okay, go ahead, sir.
Are you hearing me?
Very well, sir. Welcome. Go ahead. I can hear you.
My name is Emeka from Kwakwa.
Sir, I can hear you, sir. Go ahead.
They will be saying what PDP have done, APC have not done half of it. It's a lie. Obasanjo did not drive a party of the APC. And neither did Jonathan or any of the presidents are party APC. It's PDP their members they are dealing with. That is what I know of. That is true. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much. Daya from Lagos says, you see those supporting this government, they look stupid in the midst of reality. The musketeers have nothing to offer but to kill, steal, and destroy. It's a shame the worst of us is ruling the best of us. This person says, good evening, Esther. 210 trillion is the fuel subsidy proceed. Let Tinubu bring the money and stop all these loans. And here come from Bagata. AB says, for the very first time, that eminent Yoruba man there, I'm sorry, I don't know his name, has said the right thing. He said the opposition should not be blaming the ruling party. Are they talking what are they doing as opposition? Yes, that's truth for the first time. However, I believe the opposition are talking enough, but the issue is the person they're up against, who is a master, in fact, grandmaster team player. That is where the problem is. This man, when he was Lagos landlord, worked very well with the opposition. The opposition never existed. AB from Ekpe. All right, Mr. Lama Ekundayo. Before we go, let me take this. Good evening, S. I totally agree with what Barrister Darlington said. The opposition should boycott the election. Imagine the kind of money they are sharing the UK during the president visit over there. £500 for each person, yet the doctors are not being paid, but they have £500 to throw around for nothing. Is that how a country is being run? Mary from Isheri Osun. All right. What's your final take today?
Well, my own final take is that the opposition should step up their game.
Okay.
Go and learn how it is done internationally. Let's see your action. Let's see you.
They should learn how it is done internationally.
Yes, and bring it in, because it's like they are just kind of.
Explain, please. What country should they emulate from?
You can emulate UK. You can emulate US.
Do you know that the political climate in the UK and the US is different from that of Nigeria?
Do you know what Trump went through before he got to that place?
You keep making reference to American politics. The current trend of politics we operate is different.
Wait, did they hold their mouth as an opposition?
Okay, so that's what I'm asking you. What are the alternatives they should apply?
Yes, talk. Come out. That's why I said let us see. Opposition is not about I'm talking about party.
Okay.
It's about what you say. We want to see whether you have alternative. That's the meaning of opposition.
But people are saying that it's because, for example, the ADC has not zoned. So anybody talking now to now seem as if the person is putting themselves out there.
Each candidate can do it separately. Party can do it. As long as you are not speaking against the party and you are not speaking against another person. You can speak generally.
Yeah.
Your spokesperson can speak generally about what is happening. Like what the president just, like what we said about the president just came back from UK. Nobody talked from the opposition. What about the war that is going on in Iran? And then I don't know how that came to affect us in Nigeria here. And then nobody is talking, no analyst from their side. That's the general discussion now.
All right, Mr. Lawa Ekundayo, thank you so much for being part of the Political Spotlight this evening. Ladies and gentlemen, we'll be seeing you tomorrow evening on the Evening Rush, the World News at 6 and the Evening Rush. Follow us on at VOP 903 FM across all social media platforms. Follow me on YouTube at Estic Media, ESTIQMEDIA. Kindly subscribe. Interesting content there for you. On Facebook, it's Esther Machiku. On Instagram, at Esther Nwaz, ESTANWAZ. Bye for now and have yourself a splendid evening.